Good morning everyone, today we're checking out a brand new video from Connie X about what if Agumon was the main partner Digimon in every single season. Let's hop in and see just how crazy this can get.
Agumon, the de facto mascot of the Digimon franchise at this point, getting definitely preferential treatment in anime seasons, the video games, V-Pets, and much more, especially the card game. But what if we took Bandai's favoritism to the umpteenth level? What if Agumon was the gogglehead or main protagonist partner Digimon in every Digimon anime season?
Pulling a full-on Pokemon with Pikachu. Nope, shoulder salt.
Happy holidays! What is up, holiday companions? My name is Khan EX, and welcome back to Khan's Holiday Hootenanny 2024. And yes, today we are looking at Agumon. What it might look like if Agumon was the main partner Digimon of every Digimon season, not just the ones that he's already a partner Digimon in. Also, a quick shout out for the holidays if you want to support your...
Technically, isn't that like only two of them? Because you got season 1, but then you don't have an Agumon as the partner until Geo Agumon.
Boy, make sure I don't have to go get a real person job because I'm no good at those. I am currently running a promotion over on my Patreon, patreon.com/KhanEX. Every single tier is discounted until December 23rd. So your first month when you sign up for Patreon is going to be pretty well discounted. It directly supports me. It means the absolute world to me. It means that I can keep making Digimon and custom art Digimon videos. So thank you so much. And I'm talking specifically today about Agumon being the main character's partner Digimon, because Agumon, of course, has showed up in a lot more seasons than he's been a partner in. He was Tai's partner in Adventure, so he shows up in 02. And then we have instances like Digimon Frontier, where Agumon and Vmon are just in the background. But I'm talking specifically about if the...
Well, that's an Agumon and a Vmon, so it could be the ones we know of, it could not be. We don't know. We legit do not know.
Lots of these seasons changed integrally so that the partner Digimon for every main character was an Agumon. Some people are going to hate this video's concept, but it's just a bit of fun, innit? Calm down, Karen. So obviously the original Digimon Adventure, Agumon is Tai's partner, but Digimon Adventure 02 would be our first season to really change things up. My first question was, would it be the same Agumon? But I don't think so. For example, we have the Agumon from the Digimon Adventure movie, which as far as we're aware is not the same Agumon. I mean, maybe it got reborn as a Digi-Egg into the Agumon that Tai ended up being partnered with, but that Agumon, that Greymon are different, so I think it's okay if we had another Agumon in this adventure continuity. I'm sure we already do already. It would also just be a little bit weird for Tai not only to hand down his goggles and his crest, but his literal partner to Davis. So maybe in this scenario, instead of the...
Like, honestly, that would be just a hint too far.
Ancient sealed Digimon being Vmon, Hawkmon, and Armadillomon. Instead, it's like Agumon, Biomon, and Gomamon, each with different personalities to the adventure partners, maybe even very similar. And Agumon with the voice of Vmon. Hawkmon being more of a gentleman, at least in the English dub. What I think would even be cooler, though, is if we made this an Agumon variant, perhaps Snow Agumon. Well, yeah, Snow Agumon is more white. It still fits into the better color archetypes of the blue Vmon, especially when you think about the Digimon card game, where Snow Agumon and Vmon tend to be blue cards. Unfortunately, Biomon and Gomamon don't have variants, but this could be an opportunity to create them, like the Biomon and Gomamon variants we created a while back in my variants Digimon video. I just think it'd be really interesting to have like a Garudamon colored Biomon instead of Hawkmon, because Hawkmon, of course, is a callback to Biomon and I guess Palmon, in the same way that Armadillomon is meant to be homaging Gomamon and Tentomon, I guess because of the hard shell of Tentomon being a bug. So yeah, we do lose the kind of Tentomon and Palmon side of these, but I still think it's kind of fun to explore if like 02 just got straight up variants of the adventure partners. As for evolutions for this Snow Agumon, well, of course, we don't really have Armor Digimon that fit the bill. If we're having a Snow Agumon Armor Digivolve with the Crest of Courage and the Crest of Friendship, but we do have some really good examples of fan-made regular Agumon Armor Digivolutions. We have Razormon, of course, created by Alpoyomon, which I featured on this channel before. Like I say, that's for regular Agumon, but it's not hard to picture what a snow version would look like. I'm not going to do a variant edit on this one because that's someone else's art. And same with Friendship. I do think Volt Greymon by William Boom. Thank you, William Boom, for letting me use this art in this video.
I actually really like that. I approve.
Yeah, it would be something pretty fantastic for Agumon, or indeed if there was a snow variant. Hell, we created some Snow Agumon evolutions before, and I think those would be really good too. Shoutouts to Adriano Davino, and shoutouts to those TikTok people that are stealing the art that I paid for. Thanks, freebooters, you're so cool. If you don't want to use custom art, although to be honest with you, I think they would, because this is a brand new evolution line, I do think Snow Agumon becoming something like Vidramon Agumon would be fun, or indeed Paildramon could be fun because it is a blue and white dragon
nice
Digimon,
dragon,
very similar to XVmon that it has wings. For a Jogress though, whether we use our custom Snow Agumon evolutions by Adriano Divino or Paildramon, I really don't know where we go with it. Because would Ken still have a Wormmon, or would he have an adventure partner? Would Ken get a Tentomon variant, or something even different like a Kunemon? Or I think most likely Ken, as the counterpart to Davis, might get a Gabumon variant. Yeah, what if Ken, much like years later would happen in Cross Wars, got a Psychmon and a Gururumon, the variant of Garurumon? Then whether we use our Snow Greymon or Paildramon, their DNA Digivolution could be something like Doru Greymon, a third dragon Digimon, which would tee us up really nicely for the Mega, the Imperialdramon Dragon and Fighter mode equivalent, to be Alphamon. Yeah, okay, it wouldn't have a mode change technically, although it's a little bit more messy with Alphamon. I mean, maybe we could like have an Alphamon Dragon mode, that would be pretty cool. But then we also have Paladin mode from Revenge of Diaboromon. Perhaps when Alphamon gets its power from Matt and Ty's Omnimon in that movie, it enables it to kind of reach through the universe to wield the power of its brother Digimon, Oryumon, and then become Alphamon or Ryuken. I think I'd prefer the Paladin mode equivalent to be Oryuken. And then maybe for our Dragon mode equivalent, Alphamon instead would slide Digivolve to Grand Coagamon. That would be pretty cool.
Really?
Someone's going to want me to use Grandis Coagamon here too. Yeah, we could do, but I just prefer Alphamon. Don't ask me what that means for Tri though. Moving over to Digimon Tamers, well of course Takato is a fan of Digimon. It's a little bit up in the air whether Digimon Adventure is actually a show in the Tamers universe. Some dubisms suggest that it is, some elements of the Japanese original suggest it is. We don't have hard confirmation, but either way...
here's the easiest way of solving that. Digimon Tamers would be taking place in a parallel universe to where Digimon was originally just a show, but it was a show created by the original crew. And in maybe that timeline, and there was no Apocalypse to intersect like the time stream and all of that, and cause the whole issue that locked the digital world into now being in perfect sync with the human world. I mean, timelines, it happens.
Even if Takato is just a fan of Agumon, it would be very fun and very OC Donut Steel, but Black Agumon debuted in the year 2000 with Tamers coming out in 2001. It's a really close release window. Hell, Black Agumon even debuted in video games via Digimon Tamers Battle Spirits. I think it would be super on brand for Takato, who may have watched a Digimon media of some variety, to be like, ooh, imagine if I had an Agumon partner, but it was virus type and all black. That'd be sick. Which I think all of us Digimon fans have done with an existing Digimon at some point, an OC variant of our own, and given that Gilmon is already a virus type and ends up with a digital hazard, I think a Black Agumon would line up really nicely. Then we could have it become Greymon Virus and Metal Greymon Virus, a nice callback to the original Metal Greymon, and then its kind of Megidramon equivalent could still be a dragon, one that is often depicted as being rampaging or a little bit dark. It's literally a dark master in adventure, Machine Dramon. But does then beg the question, what would the Biomerge be? Maybe Chaos Gallantmon? I mean, yeah, in the Digimon reference book it states that Chaos Gallantmon is just Megidramon or a variation of Megidramon. And you might say, well, how can you use Chaos Gallantmon? It's so evil, but really its attributes are only basically the same as regular Gallantmon. They're both viruses. They're really not that dissimilar. I just like Chaos Gallantmon from a Black Agumon base. We still get to keep a Gallantmon in Tamers when Takato biomerges with his rookie partner, but instead go for something that's a little bit more visually similar to Black Agumon instead of regular Gallantmon. And that also sets us up really nicely because we would still be able to have a Crimson Mode equivalent moment by officially introducing the US toy line exclusive Gallantmon Chaos Mode into the fold. That is just beautiful to me. We get to keep a lot of the big beats of Digimon Tamers, finally bring a US exclusive toy into the limelight and make it official, which I think is long overdue that Chaos Gallantmon should have its own Chaos Mode or its own equivalent of Crimson Mode, and it still works as the biomerge for a Black Agumon.
I mean, honestly, if the red one already has Crimson Mode, just give the Chaos one Violet Mode or something. I don't know. What's the opposite color of Crimson? Well, no, of course that one. Well, you get something green.
Love that. Digimon Frontier? I mean, Agumon? Okay, the Agumon family is deeply entrenched into the Digimon Frontier mythos as it is. We have Ancient Greymon. The whole of Frontier clearly in many ways is homaging or redoing the concept of adventure with the core components. Takuya also doesn't have a partner. He is his own partner, ostensibly. So I think what I'd do to add an Agumon here would look at the depowered spirits. And given that Flamemon actually was in the season, unlike Strabimon. I think it's a pretty easy swap just to turn it into something like a Bushi Agumon, or I think an Agumon X would make a lot of sense, because Sequoia's power comes from Ancient Greymon, and Agumon X is kind of a more feral Agumon that has the stripes of Greymon. That, to me, works pretty well. I can see a depowered Agunimon in some way becoming Agumon X. Digimon Data Squad. Well, this one's tough. Yep, Agumon's already a partner in that season. Love the Agumon 2006 variant. The fact that we have this variant Agumon in Data Squad is the reason why that I chose variants for the others so far. Let's keep it moving. Into straight up the most difficult ones to do in a non-custom art video. I'm gonna pick specifically, of course, Shoutmon here from seasons 1 and 2, and Gumdramon from season 3. And you know, when it comes to Shoutmon, Agumon's no stranger to a microphone either. Karaoke Agumon, our new variant. This is probably the most tricky with Digicross, right? And of course, I could not commission enough custom art for this video to make it a reality what the Digicross would be. Maybe one day we'll do like what if Digimon Adventure Digicrossed or Digifused or whatever. We might do that as a video in the new year. But for this non-custom art video, maybe it would just be the same forms or very similar forms. If you look at Digimon Cross Wars, it's the same as a lot of other Digimon media. While it is really different, in a lot of ways, it's still referencing adventure. Taiki has his Shoutmon, which is a dragon dinosaur-y Digimon, just like Agumon. We have Darulumon, which is the new take on Garurumon. It sounds similar. Ballistamon is a kind of a new attempt at Tentomon. So I think if Agumon were to replace Shoutmon in this season, whether it's regular Agumon, Snow Agumon 2006, whatever, we would just get a...
Wait, there's a Snow Agumon Geo mode? Huh. I didn't actually know of that.
Shoutmon Cross 4, I guess this time called an Agumon Cross 4, comprised of Agumon, Garurumon instead of Darulumon, Kabuterimon instead of Ballistamon, and, well, there's no real rookie-level Starmon's equivalent from Adventures, so they can stay, or we can just use regular Starmon, I guess. And given the kind of feudal warring states vibe that Digimon Cross Wars has, this actually might be a good opportunity to use Bushi Agumon, which is based on more traditional samurai archetypes.
Definitely.
It would also get a little bit messy because Digimon Cross Wars has a Greymon already, but it is a variant of Greymon again, and we never saw an Agumon for that Greymon. In fact, it's more likely that Gaussmon is Cross Wars Greymon's rookie form. This would be pretty interesting. For example, instead of a Mega Shoutmon, you can instead have something like Gaiomon and have Gaiomon and Zeke Greymon going together. That would be kind of crazy. So I think outside of the Digicross element, we would have to make something a little bit unique, but also I think it's kind of fun that we would have Kiriha with a Greymon and Taiki with an Agumon potentially going into Greymon variants. Hell, if we're using more recent Digimon, I actually think High Commandramon, Cargodramon, and Brigadramon would be pretty cool for someone in Cross Wars with their militaristic feel. Gumdramon 100%. Is even more difficult in some ways because it does have a more conventional evolution line. I do think Tagaru having Agumon 2006 would be a lot of fun. Evolutions, though, I mean, you really could go anywhere. Strike Dramon, I guess, is a similar Digimon to Arrestadramon. But I do think it would be really fun somewhere in this evolution line, maybe for our superior mode equivalent, to use Wrath Greymon, the Monster 100%. Hunter Rathalos Greymon crossover. I just think it has something of the Arrestadramon superior mode about it, and is a Greymon I've not got to use in these videos before. This also does something fun by adding an Agumon into Cross Wars Season 3. Like I say, using Agumon 2006 in this instance, or even like Snow Agumon 2006, because Psychmon was such a prominent Digimon in Season 3 of Cross Wars 2, that being a Gabumon variant. So we end up with a Digimon season using variants of Agumon and Gabumon, which I think is a lot of fun. I am least familiar with Cross Wars Season 3, but I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, here's how unfamiliar I am with it. I didn't freaking know this was a Season 3. I thought it was the whole next gen show. Oh, like, you actually have Digimon and Cross Wars ends, of course, with the big bad, I forget his name, being, of course, defeated. And then you hop into this, and this should, of course, be a new show. Oh, but no, it's just the next season? And that's just, I didn't even know that. Blew my mind.
If you in the comments theorize what we could do with Agumon being Tagaru's partner in Season 3. Then we've got Atmon, and, well, Agumon kinda was the main character's partner for an episode. Atmon are getting so much more love recently. They're being added to the Digimon card game, which I am incredibly fond of. We're not sure yet, as of time of recording, whether Atmon will be able to Digivolve into regular Digimon in the card game, whether their Digivolution is going to be locked off in some way. And I do joke a lot on the internet about people not treating Atmon like Digimon, even though they are Digimon. It's called Digimon Universe, Apple Monsters, but technically, no, they're not actually full-on Digimon. But I do think people create too much separation and treat them like...
So they're like semi-Digimon. Semi-mons?
completely different creatures when really the relationship is more like Ultra Beasts and Pokemon than it is digital life forms and Digimon. Almost an all Appmon are Digimon, but not all Digimon are Appmon situation, I guess. Regardless, though, Haru does trigger Agumon to become War Greymon in Appmon. He's ostensibly his partner already. I wouldn't want to replace an Appmon with a Digimon, so yeah, that's fine. Appmon already counts. And surprise, surprise, so does Digimon Adventure 2022. That really was the tie-in Agumon show, holy moly. Which brings us finally to the one that has probably the most potential in switching the protagonist partner, and that is the most recent Digimon anime season, as of time of recording, Digimon Ghost Game. No, I'm not going to do Seekers or Liberator, those aren't anime, Patrick. As for what to do with our Gamamon equivalent Agumon, well, Ghost Game in many ways is a reference to Digimon Tamers. 3 core chosen children initially, technically expanding their ranks later on, although only by really 1 in Ghost Game. Gamamon being very similar to Guilmon with a almost deterministic evolution to a dark Digimon, and Goramon kind of being like a merging of the Renamon and Terriermon ideals, and well, the less said about Jellymon the better. Do love the design though. I do think it would be fun, given that we have Terriermon Assistant in Digimon Ghost Game partnered with Hokuto, if the Agumon we replaced Gamamon with was Agumon Expert, and it also has that relationship with the fake Agumon Expert, which I think would be fun. However, I just don't think it makes much sense for Hero's partner Gamamon to be an expert in anything. It's a very naive and cutesy little Digimon. I do think Toy Agumon would kind of be great. It would be a lot of fun. The toy element,
I think Toy Agumon would actually be a better choice than Expert.
Maybe would be lost. I don't know. Part of me really wants to use it here, but I definitely understand how Toy Agumon doesn't make a ton of sense. So I think we're going to use that same as reference I talked about and use Black Agumon again. Maybe even Black Agumon 2006. Ghost Game also has some really interesting evolution.
You know, I guess I need to stop being surprised that there's an Agumon variant that also has the Geo mode.
Going on. It's kind of the first major season to lean really hardcore into the more V-Pet style of evolution. But we did see that explored more in Digimon Adventure 2020, for example, with things like War Greymon and Blitz Greymon showing up in Agumon's evolution line. Felt a little bit more V-Petty right from the start in Ghost Game, as we had Beetle Gamamon, Kaus Gamamon, Vasion Gamamon, and Gulus Gamamon. 2 datas, a vaccine, and a virus. Straight up exactly what you could Digivolve Gamamon into on the Vital Bracelet. And they're all dinosaurs, which is something I'd like to preserve wherever possible, as Agumon is also a dinosaur Digimon. For its Vasion Gamamon equivalent, we're looking for a data type and something a little bit tanky, which is why it kind of feels obvious that the Agumon equivalent could be Monochromon. It's also a data type. It's not a Ceratopsian, but still a dinosaur evocative of Digimon like Vasion Gamamon, and indeed Triceramon, which I think feels like the common link between Vasion Gamamon and Monochromon. Its other data, I would like to go for something that flies, like an XVmon, although that is generally a free attribute, not a data, although it has been a data in things like All-Star Rumble. There is, however, a very prominent other Agumon evolution that really doesn't get as much spotlight in the anime, and that's Tyrannomon, a data attribute. It was also the data path for Agumon and Digimon Survive, so we're kind of having that theme there. But I know some of you would probably like the Kaus Gamamon equivalent to be able to fly, to keep those elements going in Ghost Game. So like we suggested with the Davis partnered Snow Agumon, you could go for Pale Dramon here, or Jazzedmon, which aren't dinosaurs, but as we've discussed before, dragons and dinosaurs are, or at least were, basically the same thing in Japan. Kyoryu. For the Beetle Gamamon equivalent, I think given that we have Gamamon that's very white becoming a red Digimon, I think we can have our Black Agumon 2006 become Geo Greymon. It is the Agumon 2006 Greymon evolution in Data Squad, and is more humanoid proportion than regular Greymon, which I think aligns quite nicely with Beetle Gamamon. And that leads us to our Gulus Gamamon equivalent. This was really tough. Gulus Gamamon being so humanoid and witty is a big part of its character, and there really isn't an...
I mean, the easiest thing to do would just be to make it Black Geo Greymon.
Agumon equivalent that lines up in my opinion as well. We could use Tuskmon, keeping our Agumon evolutions from Survive theme going a little bit. It is a virus type, or just the blue Greymon, the virus Greymon. It's not a perfect fit, but I think it does work quite well. And as we use Geo Greymon as the Beetle Gamamon equivalent, I think it also works if we have Rise Greymon as the Kano Weissmon equivalent. Kano Weissmon is based on constellations, Rise Greymon is rising into the sky. I think there's something that works there, and they're both winged. Of course, then there is a no-brainer that Gulus Gamamon's evolution equivalent, if we're using Blue Greymon here, would be Skull Greymon. Makes a ton of sense. It is the de facto dark evolution for the Greymon family, and would tee us up very nicely for the Arcturusmon equivalent. I know Arcturusmon wasn't in Ghost Game, but I want to talk about it anyway, being potentially Machine Dramon or Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. Both of those work fantastically. And then for the Siriusmon equivalent, which is a vaccine, we could use Agumon Bond of Bravery, especially given Siriusmon has that weird hands mode when it loses its weapons. That lines up to the weird hands of Agumon Bond of Bravery. Admittedly though, Bond of Bravery is an unknown attribute in the reference book, but vaccine in Masters, which is dubiously canon, but it's something to lean on at least. Or my personal favourite pick here would be Victory Greymon, a victorious final mega form for Gamamon, or in this case Agumon 2006 Black, after undergoing all its trials. Now I'm just picturing Agumon crying over Bokomon's death. Devastating. I still think it'd be really fun to see Agumon Expert and fake Agumon Expert show up in Ghost Game. Maybe if we didn't change the partner for Hero, kept it as Gamamon, but just had those Agumon show up in prominent roles, I think that would have been really neat. Alright, that is it. My picks for what it might look like if Agumon was the partner Digimon in each of the Digimon seasons where he isn't already. Talking about evolution potential and how the storyline might change a little bit. I also really am thinking hardcore about how Cross Wars would change if we basically had a full roster of original adventure partners. You know, Biomon instead of Sparrowmon. As I said, Tentomon, or I guess Kabuterimon instead of Ballistamon. It really goes on and on, you know? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think would happen if Agumon was in these seasons? And what do you think would happen specifically with the picks I've chosen and their evolution lines? Thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14 and Ranma Greyfire, as well as everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/KhanEX, and everyone.
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.